times of emergencies like the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers and learning facilitators may adapt modular, online and offline distance learning, homeschool, and blended learning modes to continuously deliver quality education to learners. During such times, teachers face the challenge of planning instruction using self-learning modules or SLMs, designing home-based learning through the weekly home learning plan, and providing training and orientation to parents and learners. This enables them to apply various types of learning delivery as alternatives to the traditional face-to-face classes. One alternative pedagogical strategy used in the impact learning system that may be applied in this situation is program teaching. In program teaching, a group of 5 to 6 learners of the same level, from grades 1 to 3, is formed and led by a program teacher or PT to serve as the little teacher or a pupil leader who will facilitate programmed lessons to the group. Typically, the PTs are learners chosen from grades 4 to 6 based on their ability and mastery of the basic skills in mathematics and reading. In the impact learning system, a grade 6 learner can act as the program teacher for a group of grade 1 learners. A grade 5 learner is the PT for grade 3 learners. And a grade 4 learner is the PT for grade 2 learners, and so forth. The school, however, may rearrange the grade assignments based on their actual situation. During emergencies, face-to-face sessions may be allowed by authorities. In the case of the current pandemic, it should follow the safety protocols. With PTs assigned for each group of learners, a PT will lead a structured learning session using prepared instructional materials developed as a programmed lesson using the program teaching modules. DepEd's self-learning modules or SLMs may also be used as primary learning materials. If the impact module is not available, the teacher may prepare the programmed lessons based on the approved SLM. In starting the session, the PT will introduce himself or herself to the group, and that the learners may refer to him or her as Kuya or Ate. The PT will introduce the topic by citing the module number, lesson number, and content of the lesson. Following the prepared steps, the PT will then call a learner to perform the task indicated in the programmed lesson. If the learner is able to perform the task correctly, the PT gives some praise to the learner and calls on another learner to perform the same task. If the second learner fails at performing the task, the PT models the correct way to arrive at the right answer and asks the learner to perform the task again. The PT continues to call on the rest of the group to perform the same task. When all learners successfully performed the task and perfected the complete round or drill for the item, the PT goes on to the next item in the lesson following the same procedure. The PT session ends when all the items in the programmed lesson have been done and all learners have correctly performed the task. A PT is assigned to conduct a program teaching lesson for only half the lesson period, for instance, 30 minutes, to limit the load on the PT. The module topics may not be completed during the 30-minute session. Another PT continues the lesson, which the previous PT had not completed. In the schools implementing impact, where face-to-face instruction is taking place, several PT sessions could go on at the same time. The teacher or learning facilitator moves around the learning groups to monitor how the sessions are being conducted. At some points, the teacher may intervene in a PT-led session and give further explanation or to correct any input or action that the PT may have missed. Teachers or learning facilitators need to prepare well for the actual conduct of program teaching. Teachers or learning facilitators need to do the following tasks prior to the conduct of program teaching. Assign grades 1 to 3 learners into small groups, with one group consisting of 5 to 6 members. Learners of the same level, for instance grade 3, should be in the same group. Assign PTs for each group. Level 6 learners may serve as PT to Level 1, Level 5 PT to Level 3, and Level 4 PT to Level 2, and so forth. Other configurations that would suit a school's situation may be applied. Prepare a weekly schedule of assignments for the PTs, including the subject areas to be delivered during the program teaching sessions. Display the schedule in bulletin boards in the classroom for easy viewing by the PTs. Prepare instructional materials or IMs that the PTs will use following the lessons in the program teaching modules or SLMs. The teacher should make sure that each PT in each grade level has the appropriate material. Train PTs on conducting program teaching sessions. In the Impact Programmed Lessons, several item programs were designed for programmed lessons based on the subject area and the skills to be mastered. One example is the Simple Item Program or SIP. These are often used for teaching reading of words and sentences, recalling details in a story, and identifying and reading numbers, etc. In teaching the SIP, the PT follows the simple step of asking the learner to perform a task. If the learner is successful in doing the task, the PT praises the learner. If not, the PT models the correct answer and asks the learner to perform the task again. When the learner succeeds, the PT praises the learner and moves on to another learner. This process is repeated until all the learners are able to correctly answer the test items, thereby completing a round. The PT then continues to move on to the next item in the lesson. When all the items have been answered correctly, a perfect round has been achieved and the lesson is complete. It is important for the teacher to train as many PTs as there are capable learners and potential leaders in the class. The PTs are only assigned to do PD sessions for half the class period. Another PT may be called on to take over and continue the lesson if the lessons were not completed by one PT. The teachers or learning facilitators, who are also called instructional supervisors, need to inform the parents about the additional role given to their children as PTs. Parents can support their children, especially when the child is given learning modules ahead of the other peer group members for advanced study. Teachers or learning facilitators should continuously motivate their PTs. The success of program teaching depends on their cooperation and good performance. Some forms of motivation for the PTs may include giving them incentives, such as small tokens of appreciation for their efforts, additional points in their grades, or awarding them ribbons or appreciation cards every quarter together with their parents. Teachers or learning facilitators should also continuously train the PTs. Before the sessions, the teacher should spend at least 10 minutes for preparation and a separate refresher training or coaching session of about 30 minutes for all the PTs, especially when a new item program or lesson will be introduced. Motivating PTs is particularly important as they are expected to perform other tasks aside from conducting PT sessions. The PTs should also take note of any learner in the group who may have difficulty in doing the tasks. The PT reports these difficulties to the teacher or learning facilitator for remediation and tutoring. If the PTs still have extra time before their scheduled session is over, they can give out practice sheets or learning activity sheets or LAS for the learners to work on, like writing letters, words or numbers, and collect completed outputs for submission to the teacher or facilitator. Practice sheets and/or learning activity sheets can be prepared by the teacher or learning facilitator and should be readily available when needed. A PT is expected to turn over the lesson to the next assigned PT when the programmed lesson in their schedule had not been completed. teaching can be adapted for online delivery. The online platform that allows group meetings such as video conferencing, social media, or group chats can be used for program teaching. The steps in program teaching in face-to-face instruction are mostly applicable for online sessions. The teacher or learning facilitator will form online groups for learners in grades 1 to 3 as in the face-to-face mode. A PT is assigned for each program teaching group. Note that in the Impact School, a grade 6 learner is assigned as PT for grade 1 learners, a grade 4 learner as PT for grade 2 learners, and a grade 5 PT is assigned for grade 3 learners. Schools may use other class configurations based on their local situation. Having assigned groups with PTs, the teacher or learning facilitator can create online breakout groups on the online platform as may be applicable, and the online links to each of the program teaching groups, including the PTs. Considering that the primary level learners in grades 1 to 3 may not yet be adept in using technology and digital tools, the teacher or learning facilitator would need to inform the parents about the program teaching sessions their children will be attending and share the links with the parents. The parents will then be able to assist their children to join the online sessions. The same online links should be provided to the PTs in each group. The teacher or learning facilitator then signals the PTs to begin the online sessions for each group of PT learners. While the PT sessions are going on, the teacher or learning facilitator should monitor the sessions to check if help is needed by the PTs, or if there is a need to join the group for clarification or further explanation. For the teacher, it is also a way to check who among the learners would need remediation or tutoring in a separate session. Considering that there would be 3 PT sessions to be conducted, the teacher or learning facilitator may set a different time for each PT session. For example, for Monday, the PT session for grade 1 may be organized, Tuesday for grade 2, and Wednesday for grade 3 learners, and so forth. The schedules will depend on the time and availability of the PTs. The PTs also need to join their daily peer group learning sessions. The PTs may be given advanced schedules of their assignments to allow them time to prepare and adjust for their peer group learning sessions. The following are the other tasks that a teacher or learning facilitator needs to do to ensure the success of program teaching sessions. Prepare the instructional materials for the PT to use in program teaching. For online learning, these instructional materials can be digitized or produced as PowerPoint presentations. The teacher or learning facilitator can use the Impact program teaching modules with prepared programmed lessons and convert them into instructional materials. If the Impact modules are not available, the approved SLMs may be used. Train all the PTs in conducting program teaching sessions in an online mode, following the different item programs indicated. An example of an item program is the Simple Item Program or SIP, whereby the PT follows a simple step of asking the learner to perform a task, models the correct answers if a learner fails to adequately perform the task, and makes the learner perform the task again. The teacher should also explain the idea of a round and perfect round to the PT. Train all the PTs on how to use digitized instructional materials and how they can be shared using share screen function during online sessions with their PT groups, using the chat box and emoticons to facilitate better interaction with the group members. Set a time, about 10 minutes, before the start of program teaching sessions to give refresher orientation to all PTs, particularly if a new item program or a new lesson will be introduced during the session. Make a schedule of program teaching for all PTs and inform the PTs of their schedules a week before the learning sessions. Coordinate with the parents of the PTs for parents to also support their children in serving as program teachers. Inform or remind the parents of grade 1 to 3 learners of the weekly program teaching schedules. Conduct a walkthrough orientation on the online conferencing platform to be used for the program teaching sessions with the PTs, learners, and parents. Ensure all learners, including their parents, are familiar with the basic controls and features of the online platform, such as logging in, raising one's hand, muting or unmuting the microphone, turning the video or camera on and off, using emojis or icons for check-in and check-out, and sharing of one's own computer screen. During the walkthrough, explain to parents and learners how program teaching will be conducted, how parents can assist their children, what would be expected of the PTs, and how learning assessment will be done. Check the internet connectivity of assigned PT to ensure the smooth flow of the lesson as well as that of the learners. Parents may be asked to make sure that their children have good internet connectivity. Give constructive feedback to the assigned PT after the online session by identifying strengths and improve on weak points. The teacher may further train and coach the PT who encounters difficulties in delivering the lesson. Teachers should be online while the PT session is going on to observe the group's activities, monitor the session, provide technical support in using the platform when technical difficulties arise, and give further explanation of the key learning points. Assist the PTs as needed by joining the group. This should be done to assist, correct, or coach the PT in case of difficulty, especially in modeling the correct answer to the learners, such as giving the correct pronunciation of words or reading a sentence. The assigned online program teacher should be trained or coached by the teacher online about 10 minutes before starting the PT session. The PT should be trained on the different item programs used in the PT session, checking the attendance of the PT group by taking a screenshot of the list of participants in the group and sending it to the teacher in the chat groups set up by the teacher. Lead the opening prayer and some simple exercises before the start of the PT session after greeting all the learners. The PT should also remind the group about the basic rules for the online program teaching session, such as when to turn on the microphone or video when performing a task and turning them off when done, how to virtually raise his hand, or how to agree using the thumbs up, give praise to a group member by using the heart or smiley icons, or write in the chat box. Study the script prepared by the teacher, especially during the first few days of programmed sessions. Turn over the program teaching session at the end of the scheduled session to the next PT assigned. Program teaching may also be used for offline remote learning, which many schools do during emergency situations such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Teachers or facilitators may conduct program teaching in an offline mode with the following preparations. Organize a meeting with parents to orient them on offline program teaching. Seek their cooperation and support by asking them to serve or volunteer as program teachers. Train a parent or family member on program teaching upon volunteering as a program teacher to his or her child. Once permission is given, training should be done in strict compliance with all health and safety protocols. Coordinate with barangay officials or other LGU members on the arrangements made with parents in conducting program teaching using impact modules. Prepare instructional materials that a capable parent or family member can use as a program teacher. Lessons that use the Impact Simple Item program can easily be done by a capable parent, family member, caregiver, community volunteer, or learner support aide. Develop a schedule for the conduct of program teaching sessions. Devise a plan for monitoring conduct of the program teaching session. Although there may be no internet connectivity, families may have access to smartphones and access group messaging or chat groups. Form a chat group with parents, conducting program teaching as a way of monitoring program teaching sessions and giving support. Provide learning activity sheets that learners can answer or assessment forms for learners to accomplish under the supervision of the parent or family member who serves as PT. Collect the learning activity sheets and assessment forms and organize schedules for pickup of the next batch of materials to be used by parents for program teaching or the next training session as program teachers. Motivate parents or family members serving as offline PTs by providing constructive feedback, further coaching, and giving them simple tokens or appreciation cards. Program teaching may also be adapted as a learning strategy for blended learning. The steps undertaken in using program teaching during online sessions can very well apply in the blended mode when there is connectivity available for all participants, including the PTs, learners, teachers, and parents. The same digitized instructional materials may be used, and PTs will continuously be trained on the different item programs as in the delivery of programmed lessons. The teacher monitors the blended learning mode and likewise provides constructive feedback and motivates the PTs. In the blended mode, schedules may be devised for offline learning activities, especially when connectivity is a problem. The parents should be informed of the schedule for offline learning and should agree to perform the task of a program teacher during these sessions. If a parent is not able to serve as a PT in the session, then another capable family member, community volunteer, or learning support aide may be tapped once agreement is secured. Upon agreement by family members to serve as PT, they need to be trained on how to conduct program teaching sessions. The training can be done during the schedules for picking up instructional materials. When picking up the impact instructional materials, the family members assigned as PTs may be given refresher training or briefing, especially if a new item program or lesson is to be introduced. As done in offline learning, simple instructional materials should be provided to the PTs in the family. Learning activity sheets can also be provided for additional tasks the parents can ask their child to perform. Simple assessment forms can also be given to the learners under the supervision of the trained PT in the family. These can be submitted to the teacher or learning facilitator during scheduled pickup of the next batch of instructional materials. The teacher needs to closely monitor program teaching when blended modes of instruction are adopted. Using the chat or messenger through direct message app is useful, and chat groups with parents can be established. In all forms of delivery, whether through face-to-face, online, offline, and blended modes, the teacher would need to make sure of the following. Lessons are prepared following the DepEd's Most Essential Learning Competencies or MELCs. Develop or prepare contextualized learning materials such as learning activity sheets that parents and learners can easily relate to, especially during offline learning. Provide various resources to be used as additional learning materials for all delivery modes, which may be accessed through the DepEd's Learning Resources Management and Development System, or LRMDS, and DepEd Commons, including those previously issued to the schools for the learners' use. Identify learners that need further learning support. Develop a follow-up plan and schedule for remediation, tutoring, and other instructional support for students who encounter academic and/or discipline difficulties. Continuously motivate learners, PTs, and parents to ensure the successful delivery of quality education amid challenging times through the current pandemic and even other emergencies. Can impact pedagogies, particularly programmed instruction, support secondary level learners? As in peer group learning, program teaching as a pedagogy is also applicable for high school students, particularly those who have not yet mastered the basic skills in reading. A program teacher can be identified and trained to handle lessons for learners who need to master basic skills in reading and eventually move on as independent learners. When these learners become independent learners, they can be trained to participate in peer group learning sessions using the self-learning modules or the secondary level alternative learning system or ALS materials. High school teachers or facilitators need to develop or prepare programmed lessons for use by trained secondary level PTs, patterned after the programmed lessons in the impact modules or SLMs. The Impact's Simple Item Program, or SIP, is an easy item program that a trained secondary level PT can perform. Also, the instructional materials for use in SIP are easy to prepare. A daily class schedule for secondary program teaching has to be prepared, and links for their sessions need to be provided by the teacher or learning facilitator. Monitoring of learning sessions, motivating learners and PTs to participate, as well as providing constructive feedback to both learners and PTs are necessary for them to complete the learning sessions per module and transition to become independent learners. At this point, let us revisit why we are using impact pedagogical strategies in the current context. Tapping parents and family members as program teachers aligns with the first impact principle, whereby education is a shared responsibility among teachers, pupils, parents or caregivers, and community members. It is now evident in the collective provision of learning support to all children. Responsibility rests not just on the shoulders of the teachers and the school staff, but it is shared among other stakeholders. This is especially true among parents, since they are first teachers of their children. The community through the local officials also share in this endeavor by providing support to the schools and the parents. Private entities can also do their part by donating learning tools, manipulatives, ICT equipment or digital materials, school supplies, and other supplementary learning materials for use by the learners in their online classes. The method of assigning program teachers among higher-level learners upholds that education is a process of developing socio-emotional and leadership skills, which is the second principle of impact. When a learner is assigned as PT, this enhances his self-confidence, sense of responsibility, and leadership skills, particularly when learners complete the performance task or other assessments and demonstrate mastery of skills based on the programmed lessons conducted. Program teaching is linked with a third principle of impact that learning can take place anywhere, anytime, and anyhow. Even during this pandemic, learning continues among children in the safety of their homes through online, offline, and blended modes. Program teaching also demonstrates the fourth principle. All school-aged children should have access to inclusive quality education. At the onset of the pandemic and when classes were about to begin, many were apprehensive on how classes will be delivered. The implementation issues seemed daunting then, and many parents were worried about enrolling their children. It was even suggested that the school year be suspended. The DepEd, however, is committed to its mandate of providing quality education despite challenges. Education must continue, and provision of learning services persisted. Engaging higher-level learners as program teachers and through the three delivery modes, face-to-face, online learning, offline learning, and blended mode, appreciable quality education is being provided to all school-aged children. The fifth principle emphasizes that a child-centered education uses contextualized learning materials aligned with 21st century curriculum. With the challenge of providing quality education in this context, DepEd had to prioritize the most essential learning competencies, a condensed mode of the K-12 curriculum. Program teaching modules with programmed lessons were developed based on the MELCs, ensuring children's access to materials aligned with 21st century curriculum requirements. The sixth principle expounds that a more meaningful learning is lifelong, life-wide, life-deep, and life-wise. The experience children gain as they participate in program teaching, where they learn with their peers facilitated by a kuya or ate, as they call their PTs, becomes a wholesome exercise, easing off some inhibitions and shyness among children. Such experiences help develop self-confidence, positively impacting their lives, setting them on a path to lifelong learning. The seventh principle builds on the paradigm of every teacher is a manager of the teaching-learning process. The role of teachers has now shifted from an agent for delivery of education content to that of a manager of a learning process. As a manager, the teacher sees to it that the resources for learning are available and harnessed for meeting learning objectives. They should be accessible and that every learner can interface with the content in an active and engaging way, stimulating critical thinking, curiosity, creativity, and love of learning. The teacher monitors the learning process as learners participate in program teaching sessions and motivates them for success. The teacher's main task focuses on training young program teachers on their role to effectively conduct sessions and be responsible for several groups, monitor their learning progress, as well as identify and address learning gaps and needs. A comprehensive guidebook showing the different impact learning strategies, pedagogies, resources, and how they may be used in the elementary level was developed by SEAMEO INNOTECH. You may visit the INNOTECH website and download the Impact Guidebook for free. We wish you luck as you start on the Impact Programmed Instruction journey for ensuring the continuous delivery of quality learning for all the learners under your care.